they are, we'll have them up. As you know, the deadline for amendments Yes.
Yeah. Dear colleagues, welcome to the online annual session on the NATO Parliamentary Assembly, to the meeting of the Economics and Security Committee. I hope you are all in good health and spirit. As you can see on the agenda, we have a meeting in 3 parts. During the first part, we will mainly discuss and vote to adopt the reports of our subcommittees. The members of the Science and Technology Committee will then join us in this virtual meeting room to listen to our joint speaker, Dr. Stamatios Krimigis, who will speak about the importance of space in security and economy. The third part of our committee meeting will take place tomorrow, when we will discuss the revised general report, vote and the special report, and vote of the resolution. We will also elect our officers. I would now like to call the committee to order and declare the committee meeting open. At this point, let me hand over to our committee director, Paul Cook, for some practical note. Paul, do you want to repeat the practical rules? No? Perhaps no. Okay, Paul, repeat how we need to do if you want to speak or to ask the questions. Okay, tomorrow we will elect the committee and subcommittee officers. We have several positions opening up. I will now mention these slots and who has indicated to us an interest in filling them. If you wish to be candidate for one of these positions, please inform me by 6 p.m. today, so we have enough time to organize the vote if needed. Regarding the full committee, I am not eligible for re-election, so the chair position of the Economics and Security Committee is open. We have one candidate for this position, Philippe Folliot from France. Congressman Joe Wilson from the United States will no longer serve as a committee vice chair. I understand that United States Congressman Neil Dunn would like to stand for that position. We also have a second vacancy for committee vice chair. I understand Ms. Zehra Taskesenlioglu from Turkey would like to stand for this position. Regarding the subcommittee on transition and development, Mr. Cherba is not eligible for re-election for this vice chair of the subcommittee on transition and development. I understand John Speller from United Kingdom is standing for this position. The Economic Committee in Transition Development The rapporteur position is also vacant, and Michael Scherba from Poland would like to stand. There are also two vacant vice chair positions for Transition and Development Subcommittee. I understand that Giancarlo Giorgetti from Italy and Maria da Luz Rescina from Portugal would like to stand. Regarding the Subcommittee on Transatlantic Economic Relations, Faik Ostrak is not eligible for election, so the chair position is open. I would like to stand for this position. As you know, Senator Bocquel left the French Senate, and therefore his position as rapporteur of the Ester is vacant. Faik Ostrak, who agreed to present the revised version of Senator Bocquel's report today, is interested in standing for this position. Harriet Baldwin from United Kingdom would like to replace John Speller for his position as vice chair of the Ester. Finally, we have two open spots for members of this committee to serve as alternate members for the Ukraine NATO Interparliamentary Council, UNIC. I would like to start for one of these. Of course, if you are interested in any of the position I just mentioning, again, please send an email to our editor Paul Cook as soon as possible and before 6 p.m. today. All other current officers are eligible for election, and we will vote to renew their mandates after we have filed the open position this afternoon. I would like now ask that the committee take up the draft agenda. We will use this opportunity to test your voting system. NATO Parliamentary Assembly staff, please launch the vote. Are you ready?
So, just to, if I can, Ivan's members will need to go to the poll section on the right and click on the arrow there, and then they vote yes, no, or abstain, and they have 1 minute to make their vote. So we would ask that the clock be started now, and we would ask members to cast their vote. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. The time is on 1 minute to vote, please.
I will say this is a way for us to test the voting system, and this will be useful for when we actually.
Θα έλεγα λοιπόν ότι αυτό είναι μια ευκαιρία για μας να ελέγξουμε το σύστημα ψηφοφορίας, έτσι ώστε να προχωρήσουμε και σε περαιτέρω ψηφοφορίες αύριο για την υιοθέτηση του ψηφίσματος.
Close the election.
Yeah. The election, the vote are closing. 1 minute passed. May I ask the committee director Paul Cook to announce the results, Paul?
Okay, let me see. We should have this posted by the staff. It'll take a second. Okay, we have 11 voted to adopt the draft agenda, so it's adopted. Thank you.
It's adopted. Thank you. Next items. Adaptation of the summaries of previous meeting of the Economics and Security Committee. Economic Security Committee meeting held in London, United Kingdom on 12 October 2019. Economic Security Committee meeting held online on 2nd July 2020. And Economic Security Committee meeting held online on 16 September 2020. So we will be vote for 3 meeting together. Please, staff, to start the poll adaptation summaries. Okay, the time is start.
Okay, I'll ask my colleagues to start the clock, and okay, it's up, and we have members have 1 minute to vote to adopt these three summaries. Again, we're doing this to test the voting, and if anyone has trouble, please let us know through the messaging section. Hopefully we have no problems.
But I can ask also, are there any comment or objections? Maybe.
I see that Mr. Folio is having trouble voting. Our voting team will be in touch. They will try to work this out. It could have been a problem with how Mr. Folio signed in, but I think my colleagues will be in touch and try to work on that problem. Okay, it's 1 minute, Ivan. So I think you can close the vote.
Do you have the results, Paul? Can you announce the results?
Let me see. I don't think they're up yet. It'll take a second. Yes, we have 12. Yep, the 12 have voted and no opposed. So the summaries are adopted, Mr. Chair.
Okay, the summary is adopted. Thank you. Let's go to item number 4. Consideration of the comments of the Secretary General of NATO, Chairman of the North Atlantic Council, on the policy recommendation adopted in 2019 by the NATO Parliamentary Assembly. Okay, are there any comments?
I see none. I see no request for the floor, so we can proceed, I think. Yeah.
Okay, I see no. If there are no comments, we will now hear a presentation of the revised draft report of the Subcommittee on Transition and Development. So we will now consider the revised draft report of the Subcommittee on Transition and Development on the Black Sea region, economic and geopolitical tensions by our rapporteur, Austrian Armanite. Austrian Armanite just become Lithuania's new Minister of Economy and Innovation. We would like from the committee congratulations to her and all the best to this new very high position. Austrina, you have the floor.
Austrina, you should request the floor so my colleagues can bring you up on the screen right now. So please request the floor, and colleagues, please bring Austrina Almanite up on the screen so she can make her presentation. Thank you. Have we lost her?
Yeah, she's on the list, request list.
Okay, colleagues, could we bring Austrina Almanite up on the screen, please?
Okay, we can see you, Austrina. Can you speak? No, we don't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, now yes. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Evans. Thank you, Paul. I am not a minister yet, though I am nominated, but yeah, hopefully everything will be fine, and our team and me personally will be appointed to the new Lithuanian government. I must say I have learned a lot here in the committee and made friends and good colleagues here. So thank you everybody for the great experience and great time we had in NATO PA. So I will proceed to my speech. I will try to make it shorter than normally we have speeches here. It's my pleasure to present the final version of our report on the Black Sea region. And the report opens by suggesting that this region is simultaneously alive with economic potential and imperiled by division, rivalry, and conflict. It constitutes a crossroads for Europe, Asia, and the Middle East, and is a vital route for the movement of energy to Europe. Unfortunately, the region's economic and political development has been seriously hampered by international and civil conflicts, such as the ones in Ukraine and Georgia. This does not mean, though, that the region has had no success stories. Turkey is an important regional player, and its economy has developed substantially over the past 20 years. Bulgaria and Romania, they are members of NATO and the EU, and as a result enjoy far greater security and higher level of economic growth. Georgia and Ukraine have undertaken impressive democratic and market reforms, although more progress is, of course, needed. Sadly, however, Russia has fomented conflict throughout the region. Moscow apparently judges it is better to have border lands paralyzed by tension, civil war, and conflict than to live alongside prosperous and confident states enjoying good neighborly relations. This concept of a zero-sum logic is not the approach our governments take. NATO allies seek stability and welcome confident, democratic, and prosperous states on their own borders. A win-win dynamic is clearly not operational in the region. That is clear. Russia, of course, remains the most important supplier of natural gas to Europe, with exports to Western Europe accounting for roughly 2/5 of total supplies. It has a clear goal of increasing European dependence on this oil and gas and using this dependence to exercise political and diplomatic influence. Europe thus needs to work to diversify its own energy supplies. Coming from the Baltic country, I must say that this is the same strategy in our region, and this is exactly the same strategy in the Black Sea region as well. The report suggests that enhancing regional cooperation will be essential to long-term development and prosperity in the region. The Black Sea economic cooperation is perhaps the most ambitious and comprehensive initiative in this regard. This international organization engages all the countries of the region, including Russia. It embodies the aspirations of many for a more integrated, secure, and prosperous Black Sea region. But there is a gap between its stated goals and the reality on the ground. NATO will remain critical to regional security. At the April 2020 NATO Foreign Ministers meeting, allies agreed to support Georgia and Ukraine in areas such as exercises in the Black Sea region, countering hybrid warfare, and sharing additional air traffic data. On 12 June 2020, the North Atlantic Council recognized Ukraine as an Enhanced Opportunities Partner, which is part of NATO's Partnership Interoperability Initiative. Georgia also enjoys this status. This initiative depends cooperation between allies and partners that have made significant contributions to NATO-led operations and missions. And of course, maintaining NATO's open door policy provides a roadmap for even deeper security integration. And I personally, I'm a fan of an open door NATO policy, especially regarding this region. So I would like to conclude with a few policy suggestions that we would like you to take from this report. First, NATO member governments should continue to insist upon respect for international law in the Black Sea region, including the principles of independence, sovereignty, and territorial integrity, and the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Black Sea, including freedom of navigation. Second, NATO member governments and parliaments should maintain the sanctions regime on Russia. Third, NATO should also enhance support for key partners like Georgia and Ukraine, which in turn need to remain focused on genuine democratic and market reforms. Fourth, energy diversification strategies of the NATO allies should include ambitious efforts to move towards sustainable energy, the building of LNG port facilities, and nuclear power, among other things. And number five, despite serious tensions in the Black Sea region, cooperation efforts are needed where possible. The Black Sea Economic Cooperation continues to uphold the principle of fostering dialogue and achieving agreements on matters of shared concern among the countries of the region, and we should support these efforts. So thank you. I'm looking forward to your comments, speeches, and of course, the adoption of this report. And I also would like to thank the team of the Secretariat who did a great job preparing it and helping in every way we take. Thanks.
Thank you. Austrian, are there any comments? I will take all questions and comments together and ask the rapporteur to respond afterwards.
Mr. Chairman, we have, I would remind members if they want to ask a question, they should hit the request to speak button and they'll be added to the list of the request list. Right now we have only one member on that list, so perhaps you might want to call up Mr. Irakli Seshashvili from Georgia, who has requested the floor. So if he, there it is.
From Georgia, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Madam Rapporteur, for once again underlying the high importance of the Black Sea littoral states and their active role in the global economy. The recent developments in the region have changed the degree of level which the countries compete for their national interests. With regard to Georgia, the country strives to achieve its full membership in Euro-Atlantic institutions. The challenges that we are facing in the region, especially in the pandemic time, have compelled us to rethink our economic and security strategies. And on this note, we have submitted a number of amendments, which I hope Madam Rapporteur will reflect them in her final report. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Irakli. Next one, I don't see anyone.
Could I, if it's possible, Mr. Chair, perhaps we could ask Mr. Seshashvili if he could read the amendments that he would like to have put into the report, just because I think other members need to hear that if we're going to adopt the report with those suggestions. So if he has those, that might be helpful.
Irakli, can you on next time?
Can he request again? And if he does, can we get him back up? If he has those changes.
Irakli, can you request, please? Request next time?
Is he request?
Yes, he is. Okay, Irakli, the floor is yours. Just a moment.
He should be right up in a second. I just think we need to have those read out before we the members agree to vote on it.
Yeah, please, Irakli.
So, paragraph 61, please add the following. As for Georgia, it was among 5 partners, along with Australia, Jordan, Finland, and Sweden, who were granted an enhanced opportunities partner states at NATO's Will Summit in 2014, where the partnership interoperability initiative was launched. The status was further renewed for Georgia in 2017 and 2020. Paragraph 62, please, afterward, it thus critical to regional and the following and Euro-Atlantic. Paragraph 87. Please add the following: the country raised number of infected persons in Georgia. The government elaborated a consistent plan of adaptation of and virus management, which aims to cause minimal damage to first and foremost the health of our citizens and ensure repeat economic recovery as well as further economic development of the country. Paragraph 91. Afterwards, officials in Abkhazia, replace word officials in Abkhazia with the following: representatives of the occupation regime in Abkhazia region. And in the same paragraph, please replace word South Ossetian officials with the following: representatives of occupation region. That's all.
Thank you very much, Irakli. Thank you. Next one, I give the floor to Yegor Chernov from Ukraine. Yegor, please, request the floor. Yeah.
Thank you, distinguished colleagues, dear Paul, dear Ivans, dear Oshrin. I wish you to be appointed to the new position. And first of all, I would like to express my gratitude for the brilliant report. However, as a part of the Black Sea region, Ukraine, our delegation has some amendments to this report, just for give more information, detailed information about Russian actions in this region, and to be more prepared for their actions in terms of defense and security. So I can read amendment paragraph to paragraph if you don't mind. First of all, it's about wording. In paragraph number 1, Oshrin uses civil conflicts. We would like to ask to replace with frozen conflicts, because there is no civil wars, no civil conflicts. This is actually all conflicts in our countries. I mean, in Ukraine, Georgia, and Moldova are with the presence of direct or indirect of Russia Federation. The same actually in the paragraph number 3, just replace civil war with hot and frozen conflicts. Also in paragraph number 4 about occupied Transnistria, we would like to add illegally occupied, just one word. The same in this paragraph, in the end of this paragraph, also the illegal occupation. Paragraph number 18, the same actually, annexation of Crimea. We would like to add illegal annexation of Crimea. Paragraph number 22, the first sentence is you use the word separatist forces. There are no separatists. This is the proxy forces of Russian Federation. So please replace separatist with the word proxy. Also, illegal annexation. Please just add this one word in paragraph number 31. And a little bit more information about the situation in this region. We would like to add in the paragraph number 12 the following text we would like to add. Russia has built and deployed 18 new warships and for the last 6 years. At its current pace, by 2027, the Black Sea Fleet will have 10 more warships and will increase its cruise missile capabilities through deployment of Caliber cruise missiles by almost 3 times, from 72 to 168. Caliber cruise missiles have a range of up to 300 kilometers against surface targets and from 1,500 to 2,500 kilometers against land targets. Also, Russia manipulates the Montreux Convention that provides it with the possibility to engage its Black Sea fleet submarines in combat actions in Syria under pretext of transferring them to St. Petersburg shipyards for maintenance. Such submarines can carry up to 4 caliber cruise missiles with nuclear warheads that puts in danger most European countries. Russia has already deployed the means of nuclear weapons delivery to Crimea, warship and strike aviation, launched reconstruction works at 2 nuclear munition storage facilities, and is considering the permanent stationing of strategic bombers to the Hvardiyska air base. Russia is using civilian maritime industry facilities for military purposes. It has already installed a stationary sonar surveillance system in the northwestern part of the Black Sea and on the Turk Stream natural gas pipeline. If the Nord Stream 2 is implemented, Russia would be able to deploy its surveillance system to monitor entire maritime traffic, rising threats to NATO and its partner countries in the region. We would like also to add to paragraph number 6 information about the replacement of the citizens from Russian Federation to Crimea, because it's actually the violation of international humanitarian law. As I will just quote our text. Between 2014 and 2019, the number of Russian citizens who changed their residency registration from region of the Russian Federation to Crimea totaled over 172,000 people. It is the violation of the international humanitarian law, as the occupying power must not deport or transfer parts of its own civilian population into the territory that it occupies. And maybe the last one, our amendment, one of the most important, it's amendment to the paragraph number 92. Non-Black Sea NATO members should step up their rotational presence in the Black Sea, as well as air patrol missions to safeguard freedom of navigation and calm down the Russian actions. NATO member states should continue the policy of strong support of independent sovereignty and territorial integrity of Ukraine, Georgia, and Moldova. NATO should consider providing Ukraine and Georgia with the membership action plan, as those nations share the common values and goals of the alliance and go through transformational to live up to NATO standards. NATO governments should consider extended sanction and restriction on Russia's defense industry in relation to heavy militarization of the region that feeds Russian aggressive policy in the region and elsewhere. This is all our amendments that we would like to add to this report. If you don't mind, please to vote or to make some express your opinion. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Igor. We have one amendment proposed by Turkish delegation, Ms. Zehra Takeshen Liogli. I give the floor to you. Yes, we can see you. No.
Here she is.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Good evening for everyone. First of all, I would like to congratulate Ms. Armonita for her new position in the Lithuanian government, her outstanding work in the assembly as the identification of her future success in her new capacity as the economic minister. I would like to also congratulate for her excellent work with this executive excellent report on the Black Sea region. I will, however, propose 5 teeny changes to 3 paragraphs. Actually, these are all functional amendments. In paragraph 13, the penultimate sentences claims that the Western aircraft cannot pass through Turkish straits. However, aircraft carriers, as defined in the 1936 Montreux Convention, cannot pass through the Turkish straits regardless of their tonnage or nationality. So I would like to propose the article reflect this. The next sentences in the same article is a bit confusing, I believe, because the main aim of the convention was safeguard Turkey's security and security of other parent states in the Black Sea through the maintaining a certain balance of power. So I would like to propose revising the sentences which would read as one of the consequences of the convention was effectively preventing escalation in the Black Sea while also limiting the ability of the Soviet Union to move its Black Sea fleet into the Mediterranean. In the paragraph 4, I would like to propose changing the wording that would reflect the fact that construction of Trans-Adriatic pipeline is completely recently. In the paragraph 39, the text claims that Turkey is the second largest export market for Russia. Actually, according to official figures from Gazprom, Turkey is the fourth biggest after Germany, Italy, and Australia. The paragraph should reflect this. Again, in the paragraph 39, the second sentences, the state ratio of Russian gas in the Turkish portfolio is not actually correct. I would like to propose revising the sentences with the official statistic. The reverse sentences would, while the share of Russian natural gas in the Turkish portfolio was 54% in the 2013. The Russia decreased to 34% in the 2019. Moreover, Azerbaijan replaced Russia as the biggest natural gas supplier for Turkey as of the first 7 of the 2020. I have also conveyed the proposal in writing to the committee secretariat. I would like to ask you to take them into consideration. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Zehra. So no more in the request list. Austrina, can you comment for
Yes,
these
sure.
questions, please?
Well, thank you very much, colleagues and your teams, for submitting these very important amendments. I must say that we will make sure that the essence of Turkish and Georgian amendments will be reflected in the final version of the report. Now, regarding the Ukrainian amendments, I suggest the following. I think that the terminology and wording you have proposed is much more accurate. And of course, we can accept it when it comes to the wording and these amendments, the very first amendments you proposed. But then there are very long paragraphs, and well, it's too long. And despite the thing that probably you're completely right, and it's very important, we can't include it in the final text because there are completely new paragraphs. So if it's fine, then we will accept the wording and terminology. That once again, I think is much more accurate. But then these longer paragraphs, we can't include them. So thank you again, and thank you again for your collaboration and kind words also. Thank you.
Thank you, Austrina. I have one more person, and I will be close this list because we have just 20 minutes for the next meeting. Now I give the floor Mevlut Karakaya from Turkish delegation. Please, the floor is yours. Yes, so we can see you, Mevlut.
Hello to everybody. Zehra Ban shared our views on the report. I will add a couple of words in a general manner. As you said, Turkey has an important and critical role in the Black Sea region. As Turkey, we try to fulfill this role as well as a NATO member. Of course, Turkey has the highest energy demand increase in the past decades amongst the OECD countries. At the same time, diversification of energy resources and the routes to ensure our energy supply security is an important element of our energy strategy. We also strive to contribute contribute to the energy supply security of Europe, and also our recent natural gas discovery in Black Sea will contribute our energy security as well as that of Europe. Thank you.
Thank you, Mevlut. Okay, Alfredo, do you want to say something or no? Just
No,
the
thank you.
compliment.
Thank
Okay,
you, Mehmet,
so
for your comment. Thank you.
we have very limited time, and I ask now the staff to move to adaptation of the report as amended. Paul, can you open
Yes,
the
I will
clock?
ask my
Yeah.
colleagues to
The
open
time?
the polls to vote to
Yeah.
adopt the report and to put up the clock. The clock is up, so you have 1 minute to vote for adoption as amended with the amendments that Aushrin Almanete has accepted from the various delegations.
The time is beginning.
Yep.
I need to repeat one more. After you push yes, no, abstained, also you need to push submit. Yeah.
Okay, we've hit 1 minute, Mr. Chair.
Yeah. Okay, Paul, may I ask you announce the results to close the poll?
Okay, I'll ask my colleagues to post the results as soon as they can. It takes a second. Okay, the results have been posted. It's been adopted. No, sorry, that's not it. Draft report. Yes, it's been adopted unanimously. So the report is adopted, Mr. Chair.
Yeah. Yes. The report is adopted. Thank you very much, Austrina, and best wishes to you and next position. Yes, thank you. See you the next time. Okay, next item. Also, 6, consideration of the revised draft report of the Subcommittee on Transatlantic Economic Relations, the Gulf Crisis and Global Energy Market. I would like now ask Mr. Faik Ostrak, the acting rapporteur of the Subcommittee on Transatlantic Economic Relations, to present the revised report on this subcommittee. As you know, this report was initially drafted by Senator Bockel, who left the French Senate last September. Faik has kindly agreed to present the second version of this report. Dear Faik, the floor is yours. No, we cannot hear you. Please on microphone. No, we don't hear.
You're going to need to click on the mic, the mute button. It should be a blue
Down
dot.
on the screen, yes, mute. Or now should be.
Now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, Faik.
Thank you. Thank you, Evans. Mr. Chair, dear colleagues, I should first mention that our subcommittee rapporteur, our good friend Jean-Marie Bockel, has left the French Senate and is sadly no longer a member of our assembly. I have taken over to present the final version of the report he started. All credit goes to him, as he has done much work on this report. The report opens by noting that the Gulf Arab states have long been the linchpin of the global energy system and, not coincidentally, are among the richest countries in the world in per capita terms. But before the COVID-19 pandemic emerged, Gulf countries already confronted a range of new challenges, including the rapid expansion of North American shale oil and gas production, the falling cost of renewable energy, concerns about climate change, and evolving global politics. Before the COVID pandemic, the United States was poised to become a net energy exporter, a change rife with important geostrategic implications. But at least for the moment, the COVID-19 crisis has dramatically altered the outlook. The collapse of oil prices in March and their subsequent stabilization at roughly $45 per barrel has put enormous competitive pressure on higher cost North American shale oil producers who cannot compete at this low price. This has invariably strengthened the hand of OPEC, although it has been compelled to operate at lower prices due to collapse of global energy demand. At current prices, the United States cannot play the role of swing producer because prices are now below break-even rates for the unconventional oil industry. The report also explores the region's changing geostrategic landscape, the social upheavals during the so-called Arab Spring, the wars in Iraq, Yemen, and Syria, tensions over Iran's nuclear weapons program, Iran's aggressive interventions in Syria, Iraq, Lebanon, and Yemen, the Saudi Emirate-led intervention in Yemen's war, and the contentious rivalry between Qatar on one side and Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, and Bahrain on the other. All these elements present an image of a region in crisis. We have also seen a momentous breakthrough in some Gulf Arab states' relations with Israel. The foundations for reconciliation lie in a set of shared interests, namely in deterring Iran, but there are also common interests in broader regional stability and in developing commercial ties. Iran remains a particular problem. The physical vulnerabilities of the Gulf energy sector were made apparent in September 2019 when Iranian-supported Houthi rebels attacked Saudi Arabian oil processing facilities with advanced missiles and drones. Those attacks led to a serious, if temporary, fall in Saudi production. Although Houthi rebels claimed responsibility for the attacks, most analysts believe that Iran was behind the operation. Market operators and strategic analysts alike worried that the attacks demonstrated that relatively inexpensive missiles or drones can have a powerful market impact with global ramifications. The crisis also disclosed the degree to which regional actors rely on the United States to reinforce regional stability, as a US decision to tap into its strategic reserves helped calm markets in the wake of those attacks and minimize the risk of a global economic shock. The United States also announced plans to deploy more forces in the region at the request of Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates. The report explores changing US and EU relations with the Gulf countries, shared transatlantic interest in maintaining regional stability, and committee within the GCC itself, as well as disagreements over matters like the nuclear deal with Iran. Qatar's dispute with its GCC partners over a range of issues, including relations with Iran, has become a matter of transatlantic concern, as has the war in Yemen. The report also touches on NATO's cooperation with the Gulf countries through the Istanbul Cooperation Initiative, ICI, and explores the many ways the security dialogue is deepening between NATO and the region. Russian energy interests and its ambition of countering the United States and NATO shapes its approach to the Gulf. Russia has sought to re-establish itself as a major player in the region, and its intervention in the Syrian civil war should be understood in this light. Russia's regional ambitions cannot be separated from its energy interests. It is accordingly working with regional energy exporters to stabilize international oil prices, while nonetheless seeking to undermine Europe's efforts to diversify its natural gas suppliers and to attract Gulf investment into its own sanctions-hit economy. But this does not always work as planned. This was evident in March with the Saudi-Russian price war, which was triggered by Saudi Arabia in response to Russia's refusal to reduce oil production in order to provide a floor for falling oil prices. This economic conflict resulted in a sharp global drop of oil price over the spring of 2020, which only accelerated as economies shut down due to the COVID-19 epidemic. Eventually, the two came to an agreement, but Saudi Arabia clearly had the upper hand in that price war. The fall in energy revenues has had adverse impacts throughout the Gulf region. The Saudi government, for example, has had to increase its debt ceiling from 30 to 50% of GDP due to both oil prices and the impact of the pandemic. It had planned to cut its spending by 5% as its budget deficit was expected to increase from 6 to 9% of GDP. Similar phenomena are evident elsewhere in the region. The report also explores how China has sought to advance its interest in the Gulf without involving itself in domestic and regional security matters. Its growing need for important energy has driven its démarche, while its Belt and Road Initiative provides a kind of superstructure for advancing its commercial and strategic interests. China also aspires to minimize the capacity of the United States to impede the flow of energy to its own dynamic coastal economy. This concern has been a catalyst for the buildup of China's naval forces and its effort to cautiously expand its own naval presence in the region. The report includes an update of critical recent changes induced by the COVID-19 pandemic. The Gulf region is expected to suffer its worst recession in recent memory due to the pandemic and the related fall in energy prices. But it's not only the Gulf energy markets that are taking a hit. Gulf labor markets are now being buffeted by the pandemic and its economic fallout. Foreigners make up roughly 90% of the population in the United Arab Emirates, 66% of Kuwait, 50% of Oman and Bahrain, and 33% in Saudi Arabia. This huge community of migrant workers confronts a unique set of challenges, and there are concerns about forced expatriation and migrant firings. The region's travel and tourist sectors have also been struck by the crisis, and budgets that were underwriting ambitious programs to diversify the region's economies are likely to be cut. The COVID-19 crisis has also spilled over to the geopolitical realm. The United Arab Emirates, Qatar, and Kuwait, for example, have recently offered medical assistance to Iran. This might be understood as an attempt to slowly reverse what some in the region feared was a march to war with the Islamic Republic. Tensions between Qatar and its GCC partners, however, persist. The report concludes that Europe and the United States should work together to lower tensions in the Gulf, including fostering reconciliation with the GCC and ensuring that the rivalry between Iran and the GCC member countries does not trigger higher levels of conflict. It suggests that NATO has an important role to play both in ensuring that the United States and its European allies are on the same page with regards to the Gulf and are working in a cooperative fashion with their regional partners, as well as with important countries not formally linked to the ICI like Saudi Arabia and Oman. It finally suggests that over the long term, stability in the Gulf will demand that these societies become more economically diversified, open, and tolerant, and that reforms aiming to achieve a more equitable distribution of wealth and power will be essential. Well, I very much look forward to your comments, colleagues, and hope you will agree to adopt this report. And also, I would like to thank to the committee and also to Jean-Marie Bockel for the effort that they have put into this report. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Faik, for your comment, for your report. I give the floor only Neil Dunn from United States, because we don't have more time and I don't have any persons on the list also. Please, Neil Dunn. your comment.
Thank you.
United States. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that. I'll be brief. When we considered this report in our last committee session, I made a point that we had failed to acknowledge nuclear power as a major contributor to the emerging energy portfolio for several of the Gulf countries. And I was glad to see we now have a short reference to that in this report. However, I want to urge everyone to recognize the reality on the ground. The Gulf countries want this technology and they are going to get it. They're well on their way. Saudi Arabia reportedly has plans to construct 16 nuclear reactors by 2040. We, the members of NATO, need to understand that if the United States and France, or maybe South Korea, are not participating in this effort, then it will be led by Russia and China. This will lead to the GCC nations having a 60 to 100 year technological and economic tie to our global adversaries that constitute a significant portion of the baseload energy generation throughout the Gulf region. I believe that the NATO members should find this alarming. The threat of dozens of nuclear power plants being constructed, operated, and guarded by Russians and Chinese in the Gulf countries is a threat we have to acknowledge and we should work to prevent. So I submit NATO has an urgent interest to ensure that the allied countries are involved in these ventures with our friends in the Gulf and region, and we should do this now while we still have time. And I yield back.
Thank you very much, Neil, for your comment. Falk, do you want to respond?
We may.
No,
He's got to be brought. Here he is. Yeah.
okay, Paul, maybe I will ask to click on Paul on the right side on the screen and to begin to vote for the report. Falk, you want to respond? You are written back.
No, thank you for the comment. And I would like to thank also to my colleagues for their participation into this report. Thank you.
Thank you, Falk. Please stay on with us also. A little bit more time. Okay, the poll is opened. Yes.
Yes, it's open, and I see
And
the
the
clock.
time is
We're
going.
just starting the clock. Yep, just
Yeah.
starting. So you have 1 minute to vote
Yeah.
for adoption of this report on the Gulf.
Okay, Paul.
2 seconds.
2
Okay,
seconds.
I'll ask my colleagues to post the results. See, that's
19. Yes. Yes, 18. Abstain 1.
yes.
The report are adopted. Thank
That's
you very
right.
much, Falk. Item number 7, subcommittee activities. Our subcommittee chair will now present us the planned activities for 2021. Let's start with your Falk, who will discuss the planned activities for subcommittee on transatlantic economic relations. Falk, please take the floor. You need, okay.
Do you hear me?
Yeah, now yes.
Okay. Thank you, Evans. I will briefly outline the activities of the subcommittee on transatlantic economic relations next year. Esther will produce a report on the global economic crisis, implications, and prospects. This is a matter that is obviously greater importance as we all confront a serious challenge in rebuilding our economies after this pandemic has run its course. The subcommittee is considering organizing a visit possibly to the Netherlands or to the United Kingdom together with the political committees PCTR. But we will need to see how the situation evolves and might even consider an online set of discussion. The subcommittee was supposed to hold meetings in Washington and New York with the CDSDG this year. That visit was postponed, and we would like to possibly hold it in the second half of 2021. Of course, any travel next year will be contingent upon the situation with COVID-19. We will have more information as the situation evolves, and once our plans are more developed, more developed. But in the meantime, I thank all of you for your patience and support. Thank you.
Falk, is it any comments? No, I don't have any on the list. Thank you very much, Falk. Now we return back to the next reporter, Mike Cherba. Please take the floor to update us on planned activities for the subcommittee on transition and development. Mike, please request the list. Mike Cherba, we
Let's
don't
see.
see you.
Let's see if he comes.
Yes, his request. The floor is your Mike.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's a pleasure to welcome you, Ivans, and let me a little bit elaborate about what Transition and Development Subcommittee is going to do in next year. I will briefly outline the activities of the subcommittee, and I would like to first of all thank Osrin for her excellent subcommittee report on the economic and security challenges we face in the Black Sea region. It was very timely and important, and of course, all our subcommittee congratulate Osrin on her new position in the Lithuanian government. Next year, our subcommittee on transition and development will produce a report entitled Belarus, Political, Economic and Diplomatic Challenges. As you probably know, I was the only member of parliament during the election time in Minsk in Belarus. I think it's extremely important for our committee to concentrate on this political, economic and diplomatic challenges this country face. This is obviously a topic of direct interest to the alliance, and it's important that our subcommittee monitor the situation there to best understand the implications. To generate information on this report, we are looking into subcommittee visits to Lithuania and Poland. You know that both countries are very interested what's happening in Belarus. The later visit would possibly engage the political committee's subcommittee on NATO partnerships, and we are looking forward to these visits, and we'll be consulting with the Polish and Lithuanian delegation about this proposed visit. You all are welcome. And we'll have more information as the situation evolves and when our plans are more developed. So thank you very much for your understanding, for your cooperation, and all of you are invited to join our activities next year. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much, Mike. I don't see any comment. Nobody don't want to speak. So thank you, Mike, for your report. Dear colleagues, we are now going to be joined by members of the Science and Technology Committee. We will have a maybe short break, or maybe not Paul short break, maybe just 1 minute, maybe. I will pass on the floor to Kevin Jones, chairperson of the Science and Technology Committee. Kevin, welcome to the meeting. I give you the floor to introduce our speakers.
I'm just going to say the meeting is scheduled for to start at 4:15, 16:15 in Brussels time, but so everyone can take a break. But if Kevin Jones could come up, we can test his mic. So
We
just request,
stay in the same links. Yes.
we stay in the links, and they're going to join. The science committee is going to join us over the next 10 minutes. But we need to test the chairman's mic. So feel free to stretch your legs.